out of apartment 5B.
You're now tuned into the Apartment 5B podcast, where we chop it up about hip-hop, R&B, sports, love and life. Hosted by Kill.
What's good? You are tuned into the Apartment 5B podcast hosted by your man Kill. I got my squad with me. In effect, as always, I am hype. This is the first time in 10 years of me doing podcasts. We got an all Morgan alumni show in the building tonight. I got my brother Vague from BK. What's going on, Vague?
Can't complain, man. I can't see shit sometimes, but it's all good.
Yo, I got Minion Crew with me tonight. I talk about these brothers all the time because there are certain people who had me fall in love with Polo, and this crew is one of them. It was Ziggy, it was the Minion Crew, and my man K Polo from the Bronx who went to Morgan. These three people got me into the low life right here. So, Kamani, what's good, bro? How you, man?
I'm good. I'm chilling. You know what I'm saying? Pull out a little something light for you. You know what I'm saying? A little throwback Teddy. You know what I mean? Fleece. Little, you know what I mean? Little dad hat. Bear dad hat. A little something for
I see you. I got my man Shy with me. What's good, babe?
I'm chilling, my brother. Life is good. I can see now, man. I just got some new eyes like 2 weeks ago, so get with me, baby.
I've been fighting that, but I gotta get them, bro. You know it's bad when like the bill comes and you gotta screenshot that shit so you can blow it up on your phone to see how much it is. That's a hit and a half that it's time, but I'm fighting it. We got my man Ski in the building. What's good, baby? You gotta unmute yourself because you muted. There you go.
I'm all good over here. My heart is filled up from last weekend. We had a wonderful last weekend. Had our alma mater over there in Baltimore, Maryland at Morgan State University. That Bear Love was all over. So I'm still on a high from that, but it was great to see you and your peoples out there.
No doubt, brother. And for people watching, yo, this man right here to me throws the dopest happy hour, the dopest barbecue. I look more forward to the happy hour than actually going on the yard. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you for making that happen every year for us, bro.
That's all of us. That's a crew event. That's the Minion Crew making that happen from 03 till now.
No doubt. Beautiful thing, bro. We all know me. Let's jump right into it. So this topic came from, I was on Twitter and this young boy asked me, Kill, what was up with Puba's first album, Real to Real? And I said, look, bro, I'm going to keep it a buck with you. Nobody likes that shit, but I'm the only human being in the world who likes Puba's Real to Real. Was it the 5 mic we expected? Hell no. But I did not like it. And then, Veg, here's the wild part. So we did the Bible show last week, which is the hip hop Bible. We're looking at 66 albums, the way it's 66 books in the Bible. With 66 albums would make up the hip hop Bible from the years of 95 to 99. We had to pick 12 albums. Veg, this one guy on Twitter responded to me and he said, Poverty's Paradise by Naughty by Nature. I said, nigga, I don't know if that's a top 20 album from Jersey, let alone to make it in the hip hop Bible. Like, dog, what are you talking about? And I'm like, the hip hop Bible is not about your favorites. It is about albums that actually have made an impact. And if the world ended today, that the next generation would need to hear. Nigga, don't nobody from the next generation need to hear Feel Me Flow. You know what I mean? And that's no slight to Trash. That's no slight to them. I love Naughty by Nature. If we were still in that 90 to 94 show when you said Naughty's debut album, I got no problem with that. But Poverty's Paradise, come on, y'all. So it just is a testimony that there are albums that people love themselves, that other people, not saying they hate, but they don't really rock with like that. So that's what we're talking about tonight. We are talking about hip hop albums and R&B, if you got them, that you love and other people either don't like or you love, but you never hear other people talk about. I will set us off. Puba's Real to Real, man. Again, I like the joint. I mean, Check the resume sets off the album, the 360, what goes around. Check it out with Mary. Puba over Impeach the President, Can't Lose, Big Kids Don't Play. You know how it goes. Real to Real had that crazy Shalimar sample over the Lou Donaldson. I like the album, but nobody else likes Real to Real. Kamani, what'd you think about Puba's album, Real to Real, the debut?
I liked it.
Word?
But I did.
Okay.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's what had 360 on it, right? What goes
yeah,
around?
and the 360.
Yeah. I liked it. Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
Babe, what about you?
I was a little disappointed only because my expectations was like brand new.
So high.
First album.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when I heard it, 360 was crazy. And then I think that got me hyped. And then I just felt like, it didn't fulfill my expectations at the time. So it's probably something I need to go back and listen to.
Right. Sha, what about you? Was you feeling Puba's debut?
Absolutely. So I'm a big Puba fan. I couldn't understand the sentiment that it didn't match people's expectations from Brand Nubian, but I was rocking with Puba since Master Ceremony. So for me, it was like a cult classic for me. I was like, he's still putting out stuff. I loved it. Like my boys call me Sha Boogie. That came really off of 360.
Okay.
Boogie's written me because I'm a Puba fan, always have been. So I love the album, but I definitely understand the sentiment that folks may have felt a little let down by it.
All right, Ski, what about you?
Very similar to, I love the album. I lived with the album played a lot. Because we had been rocking with him, Master, before it was a Brand Nubian, I think the level of expectation that we had for him, I think we set him up ourselves. We set him up in the fashion of, I don't know what we expected from him, So it kind of, much as it's a good album, when it disappoints you, you kind of shelve it a little bit. Right. I stayed with it and kept it in the car after.
Right. What you gonna say, Sha?
Say at that point in time, I think it's maybe undeniable for me that Puba was my favorite artist at the time. Like my favorite. I thought he was the best. I thought no one was better than him at that time. I thought that this guy is it. The fluid flow, he was rocking the low. He just kind of represented like the slightly older version of like our flow. I thought he was the best.
Right. And I say this all the time to people on Twitter. For a moment in time, Puba was the dopest MC walking the planet Earth to me. Now, that moment in time may have been 3 months, could have been 8 months, but to me, Puba was just there like a primo track. If something said produced by Premier, you knew it was going to be dope. If it said featuring Grand Puba, you knew the verse was going to be crazy. You know what I mean? Fat Joe watched the sound,
right.
Like whatever it was, you knew Puba was going to be there. So Ski, I agree with you, but I don't know if we set him up because Puba was supposed to be the next one. You know what I mean? And Dante Ross, the A&R who signed him, has talked about this on numerous podcasts that Puba was just lazy. Puba didn't really, he was kind of like Allen Iverson, like practice. I don't gotta come to practice, nigga, I'm nice as shit. You know what I mean? So, could you think about it? And he said this to me once, he was like, yo, could you imagine a Pete Rock 92, 93 produced Grand Puba album? They, New Rochelle, Mount Vernon, that would have been crazy, but Puba wouldn't want to pay for the beat beats. You know what I mean? And Puba wanted to do everything himself. So I think that that's the thing. That at the end of the day, it just came down to laziness with Puba. Now here on the R&B side, I got an album that everybody, if you tune in Apartment 5B, they clown me about this album all the time. Myron Destiny. Because of the album cover, yes, I know this nigga is draped across the bed. I know it's not a good look. I know this is not a good look. I know most people do not remember this album. He had a joint on here called We Can Get Down with Spinderella. It was really in the whole D'Angelo. It had that D'Angelo vibe to it. So this is like 97, 98. But really, I love this album. And I swear to God, I'm the only person in the world who has ever heard of this album. Everybody I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm the only person. If you YouTube Myron and Spinderella, We Can Get Down, I promise you will remember the song. It's a very dope album. But Kamani, set us off. What's number one on your list of albums that you love that other people don't mess with?
All right, so I got 2. So for rap, I got 2. I got one that I just don't hear about it. but I don't know if it's necessary that nobody likes it, and that's Wild Cowboys by Saddat X. I don't know if it's hot. I don't know if other people dislike it or it's just that, but I never hear about it. The second one, I know
Wild Cowboys right there.
There it is.
Wild Cowboys.
There it is. The second one, I know for a fact I'm the only person that likes this joint. I know I am. And that's Loon's album. I know I'm the only dude that likes Loon's album, yo.
Yo,
you liked it though? Ski put me onto it because Ski had it, but I don't know if Ski liked it.
I am unnerved at this moment because I was walking around and like I was on Bad Boy Street Team Loon because Loon was to what Bleak was to Rockim. So Loon was coming out. I was walking around like, yo, y'all ready? Y'all ready for Loon? So high that when it dropped, I was so disappointed. But wait, before we go any further, I am caught off guard to hear Kamani put that on his list because there's Kamani and an ex of mine who there is a running joke about me being on Loon Street Team. Thinks on everything, and then got on his own album, and it was like, I was like, what is this? What is this, disco? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, the production was insanity. The production was disgusting. But it had a couple joints, and the way he was spitting on it, I don't know, I just liked it. And it just spoke to my chilling in Grand Tune times. You know what I'm saying? It just spoke to that kind of energy. But I know there's nobody else. Okay, so maybe Ski, but I know there's no one else that actively likes that album, yo. It's impossible.
Yo,
Ski doesn't like it.
Yeah, Ski don't even like it. So,
See,
so it's really just
he
you.
put me onto it.
And he put you
and
onto
it. And I put him onto Wild Cowboys. I was like, yo, you got to listen to this album. This album's hot.
Yo, this
he wasn't even rhyming then. Like his words, he was purposefully not rhyming his words at the end.
Yeah.
Saddat, yo. Saddat X.
This Saddat joint, man. I feel you though. I was disappointed by it, man. I was, but I did fuck with it. There was some joints on here I did fuck with. But Saddat has gone on, and a lot of people don't know. His Black October album was dope. Experience and Education was actually dope. But yeah, I feel you on the Wild Cowboy joint. Hey, what you got for your first joint, bro?
Damn, Black October. When that come out?
Last year.
This joint. This came out around the time he went to jail, or he had just got out, because he was talking about going to jail. Yeah, he was on Rikers for a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was on Rikers for a minute. But these are the other two. So people watching, this Experience Education joint was a dope album, and this Black October to me was a dope album too.
Yo, how does Kill just automatically have artist albums like on the whim? It's like
that we mentioned.
Bro, everything is just right here, right next to me. Shy, you been to the crib before? Everything is just right there at arm's reach and limb.
But to have that at arm's reach.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? That's different.
Right.
That's different.
Hey, what you got for your first joint, bro?
All right, my first joint, I got Erykah B and Rockim, Don't Sweat the Technique. I ain't gonna lie, when I was purchasing it, I was like, I feel like, because I was younger when the other albums came out, and I heard them, but I didn't have them. So it was like the first time to I'm gonna buy Erykah B and Rockim, and I really felt like I was buying the Whack album, because I was like, damn, the party's over. Here I am, it all happy because it's Erykah B and Rockim, and then when I hit play, I was like, this joint is alright. Like, I don't know what people talking about. Some of my favorite songs on here, Know the Ledge, obviously. There's a lot of production on this album that sounds like that. What's on Your Mind, with the Curious beat, or sample or whatever. Keep the Beat, which was dope, and the title track, Don't Sweat the Technique. and it has a real, like, there are a lot of songs that sound like Know the Ledge production wise, and Rockim is spitting, but there's a lot of jazz samples as well, and I think I really like that part of it. And I was just surprised how much I liked it, and throughout the years ever since then, every now and again I'll go in and listen, and I'm kind of amazed by why it doesn't get mentioned as much. It's kind of written off, probably because of that video, Don't Sweat the Technique, where they just walking around
all the white women mix well with the guy.
I walk around. On the R&B side, this is probably a more recent joint, Free Nationals album. I remember when it was dropping, I was excited because I'm an Anderson .Paak fan. So I'm like, oh, well, this joint probably gonna be crazy. This the band and all of that. And at first I was kind of so-so on it, but the more I listened, the more I liked it. Actually, some of the features include Anderson .Paak, obviously, Dame Caesar, Mac Miller, and what's crazy, Conway and Westside Gunn is on the song. And it kind of works. Yeah, it's the last song, but it kind of works. But the album as a whole is like that Anderson .Paak vibe, kind of jazzy, hip hop almost sounding, but it's a very varied album as far as the features, as far as the songs, the instrumentation, and a couple of times I would listen to it, but after a while I'm like, I feel like I'm the only nigga listening to this. Like,
yo, bro, I never heard the album. I didn't even know it was out.
Yeah, it came out. It might have been right before the pandemic.
Okay.
There's a couple albums that came out like 2019 that most of us obviously forgot about because of what happened. But that was one of them. And I don't hear nobody really talking about it, so you should check it out.
I gotta tap into it. Because I think that's the other problem too. So much music gets biased because we don't have those outlets no more. You know, back in the day, it was The Source. It was Vibe. It was 106 and Park. Somehow, some way, it was something telling us. And you would think a Free National album would be something that everybody hears about. You know what I mean? So it's just crazy because it feels like now everything is just social media. Like, if you're not on Twitter or IG, you're going to miss a lot of music. Yeah. Like, for instance, Joell Ortiz and Arsonist got an album dropping tonight.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, but I wouldn't have known about that if I didn't follow Arsonist. You know what I mean? I would have had no idea about it, you know? So I think that's the hard part with music, too. The Don't Sweat the Technique, I got to go back and listen to it. I know the first joint. I know my first listen. Not that I wasn't feeling it, but the songs that I liked, I'd already heard before. Because Juice, of course, was on the Juice soundtrack. The What's on Your Mind was on the House Party soundtrack. So it felt like it was almost made up of, like, some of the dopest songs. But I need to go back and check for that because I haven't listened to that album in probably 25 years easily. So I need to tap back into that joint. Sha, what you got on first for your joint, fam?
All right. So before I get into my albums, I'm gonna talk about something that you just referenced. Because I was looking through, like, okay, what albums do I really love? It's like, are people really listening to albums anymore? Right? Like albums, like the whole thing through, because we're getting content so like rapid fire. You're listening to songs more so than like, let me go buy this album and sit. Well, let's say you, not you, Kill, because clearly you buy every album. But I mean, like, assuming individual snippets, either a verse or a song, and so the whole notion of like, there's an album and there's an energy that you get from an album, like the overall flow from song to song, the sequencing, the interludes. That's kind of like a lost thing, at least for me. Like I'm in the car, I may listen to a song here and there, and I'm streaming, so I'm getting individual songs, not full albums. So I just wanted to just kind of highlight the fact that I don't even know last time I listened to in new albums straight through. So that's a little crazy. Right. But as far as albums go, I got one that is, I think people appreciate the album. I'm thinking the Lox, right? The first Lox album, right? Money, Power, and Respect, right? People, like, they've grown. The Lox has grown in their legend. So I think a lot of folks forget about the first album. But in particular, Sheik Louch's song in that first album is one of my favorite songs in that album. The Gonna Be Some Shit. And I think that, like, for me, I love it. Maybe Kamani loves it as well. But most people, they may have said, oh yeah, the Lox first album, but they're not checking for Sheik's individual song on there because Jada is so fire, Styles is so fire. So I think that that's probably something that I'm kind of in a small category of folks who are like, the album, but in particular, Sheik's song on that album.
No doubt. Because you're right. I never hear anybody talk about that album, period. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's almost like people act like it didn't exist. You know what I mean? So, and I wonder if a lot of that's just dealt with them trying to get off Bad Boy. You know what I mean? And everything like that, you know. So maybe that's why people do the Men in Black moment and forget about that joint. But I feel you on that one. Steve, what you got for your first joint, fam?
What's good? Can you?
Yeah, you good.
Go ahead and let y'all know that Kamani stole with the Wild Cowboy.
He stole that joint from you?
Talking about it, and I was saying there's no way that he's gonna be able to carry a whole album. That's that Derek X. And even though I always liked him on Brand Nubian, All for One, I like that song on the Brand Nubian album. And even when they dropped, either they dropped or he dropped them, when they came out without Puba, I was impressed how he was able to carry with Lord Jamal. But alone, I was very concerned about him alone. And I really enjoyed when we played it and we sat saying, wait, you know what he is? He's the hip hop, he's the rap, he sweat kind of thing. Nope, that is. He killed that note. Derek X, Saddat X, he kills that voice of his. And what's his homeboy name on the album, Killer?
You talking about not Stud Diggy? You talking about fuck, I know.
No.
You talking about Rich Black, Sean Black.
Something like that.
Sean Black. You talking about Sean Black?
Oh yeah.
Sean Black, Alamo, and Mark the Spark.
Kill that shit. What's the matter, Jay Black? Don't you be rich?
I want to be rich.
Yo, the funny thing about Dot to me is he's almost like, he reminds me of Freeway. Because when I first heard Derek X, I was like, yo, why you rhyming like that? The high pitched voice, different flow. Same way I felt when I first heard Freeway. Like, yo, this whiny voice and what kind of flow is this? But I feel like once I got into it, like, I love Saddat and now I love Freeway, you know, but he's one of those that it's an acquired taste.
Saddat walks.
Saddat walks so Freeway could work.
He didn't care about rhyming at all. He didn't care about the words, like actually
That
rhyming.
was purposeful. Yeah, he said that. That was purposeful. He got out of that though not too long after that, but
I finally stole that one. Was the first album by OC, Word Life.
Word Life.
The much better rapper than much better lyricist than he gets credit for. He got caught up in whatever was going on in the industry at that time. I think he's or whatever to a certain extent. And I remember he performed at Morgan, and he performed that at Morgan, performed in Baltimore, Grand. He opened Mobb Deep. He opened for Mobb Deep, but this is Mobb Deep pre-Infamous remix. So they had Infamous Fire, and Mobb Deep opened for him. That is how the industry changed. Mobb Deep opened for him, were high and drunk, and they were hard. Came out first dissing them, kind of thing. So what is going on? What kind of artists we have today? But I don't know if that was part of his downfall in the end, bigger than Queens after that remix. But OC's first album stayed in my Walkman and Discman of time, and I never heard it. Got that OC? I'd be like, I'm gonna send OC, and people just shrug their shoulders like, oh, okay, I get Brooklyn dude, and that's what you're supposed to do. Whatever.
I think the thing with OC too, I think the problem with O was he dropped in, He dropped in 94, which is the same time as Illmatic. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like right there, you just bumping heads. You bumping heads with Nas. You bumping heads with Ready to Die with Big. You got these two big boys out here and everything like that. And you can't really find your niche, because you hear people talk about Time's Up all the time, but you seldomly hear people talk about the entire album. You know what I'm saying? So I know hip hop heads who probably can't name you 4 songs off that album. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that as a knock. You know what I mean? But I just think it was like that single was so big, and I don't think there was anything else on that album that was that big. And then I think what also helped them too was the second single. Which was, God help me, Vay. What was the second single? It had the same sample that Pete and CL used for Take You There, and they both dropped at the same time. Born to Live was the joint. So that didn't help either. That now you got the exact same sample that Pete and CL, that's a bigger group, got at the same exact time that you got. It just is one of them things where it just felt like, yo, you know, the stars in the line, it wasn't aligning for OC like that. You know what I mean? And then by the Jewel's album, then I knew niggas who was like, yo, that shit too soft compared to Word Life, because he had Yvette Michelle singing on the chorus. So I just think it was a weird time to be like a solo MC at that time, because it's like, well, he's not as good as Nas. He's not as good as Big, but nigga, most people aren't as good as Nas. You can't just write them off because they not as good as these two niggas, you know, but definitely that's a dope pull, because I seldomly hear people ever talk about Word Life like that. The next joint I got up, I know me and niggas at Morgan are the only people who I was running with. Das EFX's second album, Straight Up Suicide.
I chose not to steal that from you because I knew it was coming.
Yo,
that's my favorite guy's album.
Here's the first thing. Let me say this. I understand why people don't like the album. The beats are not good. The beats are like blah at best. But god damn it, they are putting in work lyrically. And I understand. I was running with nothing but lyrical MCs at that time, because this is 1993. So nothing but lyrical. And they're like, yo, did you hear what that nigga say? I wrote 2 spliffs, so I guess I'm double jointed. Like, they're like schooling me. So I get it. So people who don't like it, I totally get it. I understand. And it's only because normally I'm a beat person. So if the beats are blah, I'm like, whatever. But lyrically, and then I know people too were mad because they dropped the diggity thing too. So you have people coming back in expecting the diggity. There's absolutely no diggity. The beats aren't as good as the first album, so I get it. But lyrically, god damn it, them niggas. There you go, right there. Give me that microphone. Like, yo, it starts off with give me the microphone. Then they come in with it starts off with Underground Rapper. Then give me the microphone. Check it out. Freak It was dope. Back in Effect, Caught in the Act, Crazy with the Books. Again, I get it. The beats were not great. The Iggity was not there. But yo, I love that album, man. And whenever I bring it up, niggas be like, yo, that shit was trash. And I'm like, trash? Like, yo, like, but again, I get it. I always tell people as the analogy, if you order the Sprite and the waiter brings you the water and you want that Sprite, there's nothing wrong with the water. You just had your mouth set on that Sprite. So if you were ready for the Iggity and the Diggity and all of that, and you hear it and you like, yo, there ain't no Iggity. What the fuck? What you gonna say, Skip?
To me, that album legitimized them. To me, back and song to the hip the hop you don't stop.
That's the third album.
Hip hop, real hip hop. Those songs legitimized them because whoever was, some people dissed the Iggity, but whoever was dissing the Iggity, they came and it was like, we're gonna give you none of it. And now what? You know what I mean? And if Hit Squad never breaks up, I don't know. It's a different story written for them. You know what I mean?
Right. We did an episode on what ifs, and one of the what ifs is what if the Hit Squad doesn't break up? You know, we finally get that Hit Squad album. You know what I mean? And everything like that. So I totally get it. For my R&B joint, I never hear anybody talk about this Bilal joint, Airtight's Revenge. Everybody always talks about Firstborn Second, which is an amazing album. His second album, Love for Sale, that got shelved. To me, that's a 5-mic album. If they would have dropped that and then backed up with this, I think this is an amazing album. Nobody knows about it. When I bring it up, they don't even know songs off of it. they may know one or two because Robert Glasper has covered some of his songs before, but I love this joint right here that nobody talks about. One of Philly's finest. Kamani, what you got up next for yours, bro?
So for R&B, I don't know. I don't hear many cats talk about it. The only cat I remember talking about it is our man Jim, and it's not even so much necessarily that cats don't talk about it so much, but what I'm sure will surprise others is that I think it's my favorite album of his catalog, and that's Michael Jackson's Invincible album.
Okay.
As opposed to, of course, right, Off the Wall or maybe Thriller. Like that joint, especially Heaven Can Wait. When Heaven Can Wait comes on, I play that joint 6 times in a row, wherever I'm at. And that's on the R&B joint. That's the one that I don't really hear many people talking about it at all.
Doesn't that have Rock the World and other things like that on there?
Butterflies is on that joint.
Yeah.
Okay.
Butterfly, Rock My World. Yeah. Had a couple remixes on there with like Eve on the joint and stuff like that. So like it had a little buzz for a second. And then I know the video with Chris Tucker got a lot of, got some good buzz for a second, but people don't really, like anytime I hear people talking about him and talking about his catalog, they don't really talk about that one.
Right.
But that's the one, I had the joint with Biggie on it. Like that's a Biggie verse, but
Right.
And, right. But yeah, that's
You got another hip hop joint? Or you just doing R&B?
Nah, that's it. You just get 3/5 of a brick. That's it. That's all I got. That's all I got. That's all I got.
No doubt. Hey, what you got up next, bro?
All right, the next one I got on the hip hop side, Tribe Called Quest, fucking titled "Give Me $35, I'ma run some errands." I don't know what the hell the name of that title is. It's their last album. Right. All right, well, hold up, here it is. We got it from here. Thank you for your service. I really think I'm the only one that likes that shit.
Nah, Meg, I love that joint. I love that joint. It's me, you, and Q-Tip. That's it. It's just the three of us. But hey, like it says in the Bible, when 3 touch and agree, that's it. That's all we need. Me, you, and Q-Tip.
Yeah. What was that?
Album After Love Movement?
Yeah.
Yep. It was the one when Phife passed away. He passed away right before it came out.
Oh, that's right.
Right. What I liked about it was it felt like Tribe but upgraded in a lot of ways. And by no means it's a perfect album. Some of the standout songs on the album for me, The Space Program, This Generation, Kids, and Mobius. Kids are really like, that's what Andre 3000.
3000, yeah.
Q-Tip, which kind of brought some, it's unfortunate that Phife passed, but that whole Outkast and Tribe album collaboration they talked about, Kids is like the perfect example of what it would have sound like. And it was kind of crazy. But yeah, I like the album a lot, but it's kind of like divisive because there's some Tribe fans, there's some diehard Tribe fans that's like, nah, that ain't it.
Greg, let me explain something to you. Ed will randomly call me, be like, fuck that Tribe album, and hang up on me. Like, literally, like, that's it. There's no words. He just be like, yo, fuck that Tribe album. Like, he can't stand this shit. And I'm like, yo, you hit play in the Space Program, come on? I was like, yo, this shit is dope. And then Jerobi is rhyming. Like, it's like...
And sounding good.
And sounding good. I was like, yo, I really like that album. And you're right. Nobody talks about it.
Nope. They act like it didn't happen, but I listened to it. So
here's the thing, Vague, and I wonder this, and we're gonna come to your R&B. To what Sha was saying. Sometimes I wonder, can people even digest albums anymore? Because now I know why. Here's the thing: if Outkast came out today and said, "Yo, we dropping a reunion album, 3000's rhyming, Big Boy organized doing the beats," we would talk about that shit for the next 3 weeks. We talk about how great it was. This shit would come out on Friday. We talk about it for the next 24 hours. And by next Wednesday, nobody will be talking about that shit again. So it's almost just like, I'm wondering now, it feels different. Like us not liking an album in 94 means something different than us not liking an album in 2024 because nothing has staying power right now. I remember when D'Angelo's Black Messiah came out. Niggas were losing their fucking minds. Like, yo, he's back, he's back, he's back. And then like a week later, it was like, and what's next? You know? And L talked about that. LL talked about that because he had dropped a single, whatever was the second single off that Force album. And people was like, well, what's next? And L was like, nigga, nothing's next. Like, that's the single. Live with that shit. You know what I mean? And he ended up deleting the tweet. Somebody must have gotten his ear. But he was like, nigga, I'm not giving y'all out a new song every day. Like, but L doesn't understand that this is the way that people digest music now. Like, nigga, you can't, we ain't living with no single for fucking 3 months like we did with 92 when Tribe dropped Check the Rhyme, and we just enjoy Check the Rhyme for 3 months, and then comes the album. Like, L, you gotta keep feeding people. What you gonna say, babe?
I was gonna say, like, you're right. I mean, and that goes even for older generations. We all kind of fall victim to it in some ways, but I think what LL needs to realize, he needs to take a page out of Hit Boy and Nas's book, right? Because they were dealing with the same thing. They dropped, it's like Nas is everywhere. Hit Boy, oh, is incredible. He's GOAT, blah, blah, blah. And like you said, it'd get quiet. You don't follow up with another song. You follow up with a visual. Like literally like the next week. Like people need like reminders like, yo, remember you like this shit. Just keep listening. And you just got to give it to them in different ways so that they're not looking for the next thing. Because unfortunately, that's what it is. So.
Right. What's your R&B, Joel?
All right, R&B. I was looking, like, I own this album, but I was looking for it on like Apple Music and I couldn't find it. So I don't know if this is like something that didn't come out or it's just not there. But Raheem DeVaughn's Place Called Loveland album is perfect.
Yeah,
it's perfect R&B. It's old school without sound. And when I say old school, I mean more 90s more than anything. Without sounding old school, songs on here, and literally anybody watching this who want to go listen, you hear these 4 songs, you go listen to the whole album. Love Connection, Wrong Forever, Complicated, and a joint called Pink Crushed Velvet, which I think is like a salute to Prince. This album is fantastic. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I was even listening to it today, and I was like, damn, Raheem DeVaughn already got a couple of joints, but this one is like on another level. And I swear I was the only one. Like I was like Ski. I was on Raheem DeVaughn street team. I was like, yo, you heard this shit? Like anybody who I know loved R&B, like please listen, because it can't just be me. So
I don't know what it is about Raheem. We always talk about this. He just does not get the props he deserves. Raheem's discography has one of the dopest discographies, R&B wise, for the past 24 years. Easy, like hands down. But the average person hasn't even heard one Raheem DeVaughn album. They may remember a song off the first one, or Guess Who Loves You More, or the joint Woman that Chucky Thompson, God bless the dead, did that was nominated for a Grammy. But even shorties don't know a whole Raheem album. Like, and I don't get what it is. Like, I don't know what the missing. I don't know where the missing piece is, because it's incredible music. The nigga can sing. He puts on an amazing show. So I just don't get what is the missing element for his name to be brought up more. No disrespect to Anthony Hamilton. I love Anthony Hamilton, but I definitely think Raheem DeVaughn's name needs to ring out more than Anthony Hamilton's name. But it doesn't. You know what I mean? So I can't call it, man. Shaw, what you got? You got an idea on that?
Well, I'll just jump right in because Raheem DeVaughn is definitely on my R&B list. I'm a Raheem DeVaughn fan. I was on the street team as well. Once he was doing the music early with Urban Rap 31, with DJs,
right,
and all those folks. So I was listening to a lot of his stuff from way before, and I had like some pre-release stuff. That first album, I had heard it for like years before it actually came out, most of the songs, and like that, seeing him perform Believe over and over, that's like one of my favorite like R&B songs, which, from this area, you probably heard it and know it, but I don't think it gets the notoriety that it should have. So I'm with you, Vegas. I mean, like he's an R&B savant that doesn't get the shine that he should. And I feel like, so for one, on that album, I just looked, it is on iTunes, the one that you just referenced. So it is available for folks who are going to be looking for it. But yeah, I think he's unsung. I think his catalog, and I mean, the first album for me was like just stayed on repeat. I used to blast that like it was a Jay-Z album, in my Tahoe with the rims.
Have y'all seen him on the front porch, John?
I think I did. Yeah. I saw that recently. Yeah.
No, not yet.
Oh, yeah. Tap into that. Great performance. Great performance. All right, Shaw, what you got up next, man?
So that was one of mine. Next one I have, you stole my Daz Effects one, so I'm gonna cross that one out. Royce the 5'9", right? The Book of Ryan. So I think that I'm kind of thinking like there's certain artists that people kind of like hear a certain way, and then they kind of just don't really check for them like for like overall products. Your demographic, Kill, is really tapped in. So I'm quite sure the folks who are listening to this most likely like, Royce, what are you talking about? We all love him. But for me, Royce, that Book of Ryan was like a very mature album. So I had to convince folks to listen to it because of the subject matter. It wasn't that it was things that I had gone through, but it was things that I could relate to for folks like in our age group. And so I feel like, but this also speaks to like the energy of an album, right? So I had to listen to that entire album and kind of feel different parts of his life as I was going through it. And so like I couldn't even tell you like a particular song on this album because I just love listening to the entire album. So it's a certain feeling I got as I listened to the highs and lows of that album. So yeah, Royce. Bro,
Book of Ryan to me is a 5 mic album, man. I love that album. I just posted Fonte's No News is Good News is what I was riding out to this week. And those 2 albums made me actually realize Black Thought don't be saying shit. You know what I'm saying? Because what happened was Royce came out with Book of Ryan, Fonte dropped No News is Good News, and Thought dropped Stream of Thoughts. I think it was with Ninth Wonder for the first volume. And I'm like, I hear Thoughts joint, and it's just him doing Hot 97 again. And again, this is, y'all know me. I own every Roots album, so before y'all even say a mumbling fucking peep to me, show me your resume. Show me you own some albums. If you want cap for Black Thought, I'm not dissing the nigga. He's just a bar warrior. That's what the nigga does. He did exactly what he did on Hot 97. He left Hot 97 and went right in the studio and kept doing that shit. For me, that I am, I want more. So when I'm hearing Fonte talk about expensive jeans and black men and our health issues and sleep apnea and getting colonoscopies and shit that 3,000 don't want to talk about, talking about getting married, divorced, raising your sons, doing all that, hearing Royce talk about this, but the whole time still a high level of lyrical ability. So it's not like, oh, we telling you about our life and it's boring. Like, nigga, these niggas are still putting in work. Fonte got that joint, so help me God. Like, nigga, I will fuck y'all up. Don't get it twisted. But then you go to Thought and it's just 100 miles a minute. And I'm like, nigga, you was doing this shit when I was 21 at Morgan with Philadelphia. Nigga, I need more. And I get it. That may not be Thought's thing. And that's 100% fine. But just for me, those 2 albums, Book of Ryan and No News, just made me kind of look at Black Thought differently. Because I'm like, yo, these are your contemporaries. And you see how they're growing. And to me, you're still doing amazing shit. But you ain't saying shit, my nigga. You know what I mean? So again, people who love Thought, I just feel like you are people who just love bar work. And there's nothing wrong with that. But at 50, I need more than that. So I agree with you wholeheartedly on that Book of Ryan, man. That's a masterpiece in my eyes right there. Ski, what you got, good brother?
What you looking for? You looking for hip hop or R&B?
Whatever you got, bro. Throw it out there.
Y'all both of them. I got a dude who his name, you remember his name? Remember him from Neighborhood, Crown Heights, Brooklyn, and he was close with an older dude that I was real cool with in the neighborhood that kind of helped him come out, and that is a gentleman by the name of Jimmy
Cozier.
Wow.
Nigga was signed to J Records with Alicia Keys.
But
I had no idea he was from Brooklyn though.
Brooklyn dude, a Crown Heights dude, real. I thought he was actual culture for a minute because he's cool with so many Haitian dudes, but that was just coincidental. But and also I need to, if I see him again, I apologize to him when I met him because when I'm.
Black ones.
Jimmy shut him down. He said, "Watch your words, Playboy.
Right.
Watch your words."
I'm apologizing in 2 ways.
My back, my back.
You back, bro? You back?
Okay, all right. So, he when I met him at a Fat Joe concert in Brooklyn, and they was bringing they had What's the Name out. That was the first time I saw What's the Name in person. Remy Ma, and when I met him, I shook his hand, and out my mouth I said, "You look way more manly in person," kind of thing. And my man elbowed me like, "Yo, how you talk to a dude like this?" I'm like, "What's wrong with you?"
This guy.
This guy. But he looked in video. He looks so polished. You know what I mean? But in person, it's like outside. But his album was better than one would expect. He only got that one tune. He had another video, but ain't nobody really paid no attention. But I probably played that album for a good 4 or 5 months in my whip back then. And on the hip hop side, this is gonna be different. This is a little more recent. This is as of 2016. I used to listen to this album over and over on replay while I would marathon train, run 10, 15 miles and just listen to this over and over. It is an album called Yellow Tape by Mano and Uncle Murder. I am telling you, I don't know, there's some bars there, but similar to how I feel about Old Dirty Bastard. And Old Dirty Bastard is not the most lyrical, but he is the most entertaining of Wu-Tang. These dudes made me laugh. These two gangsters that I don't know how many bodies they truly got, but they made me laugh through their entire album. And this dude, Uncle Murder will teach you what going back and doing your what's the recalls they do, the ad-libs. This dude's ad-libs are horrendous. I feel bad for King Michelle. I feel bad for whoever they talk about, but it is horrible. But it is so entertaining. Please take a moment in your life.
It is called Yellow Tape?
It's called Yellow Tape by Mano and Uncle Murder. It is sheer hilarity kind of thing. I love it.
Yeah, I just play that in the gym like every week. And Uncle Murder's ad-libs are underrated. Cause he'll say wild shit in the background like, he dead, look at him. And you like, you know what I'm saying?
Yo, he dead, look at him as a wild ad-lib, B. That's a wild ad-lib.
Disrespectful.
Right. Next joint I got up, I'm the Only Human Being. Me, Evil D, and 5 Foot are the only people. Buck don't even like this album. That's Warzone. That's the second Black Moon album, man. I get it. It's a long layoff. It was a 7-year layoff. I mean, you know, End of the Stage dropped in like 93. This ain't dropped till 99. That's a 6-year layoff. It was 94 when. All right, so 94. So it was only a 5-year. Still layoff. That's still an eternity to go without a single.
Eternity.
Right, that's an eternity, especially in the 90s. But I totally forgot. I said something about it on Twitter, and Buck actually replied. I totally forgot that they were in that battle with Nervous Records for their name. You know what I mean? So they couldn't record for such a long time because they were on Nervous, and you know, then Smith and West and all the other ones were on Duck Down. So they were the kind of ones. What's up, Ski?
Yo, Kill. When was that we saw him on Franklin Ave at
Oh, when you stepped to him? So you think the Jimmy Cozier joint is mad rude? My man steps to Buckshot. He goes, "Yo, what up, Buck? Yeah, you know, Cat's really checking for you, man. Cat's really they want you to come back, but they want like that real Buckshot, like not like this shit you've been doing." It's a grown man. It's not an adult. The man's an adult. On Franklin Ave. He says this to the man. He might as well have went in his house. He might as well have went in his actual home and said, "Nah, all the shit you're doing, that's you all that shit. Nah, they want that real shit. Want that real shit."
You're a wild boy, Ski. You're a wild boy.
Incorrigible.
We were such fans. I understand now that you could become such a fan that as a fan you stifle the artist. You know what I mean? So Hov told us, "You want my old shit? Buy my own album." You know what I mean? And between the Nervous beef that they was having, and then whatever artistry you trying to find yourself in, I've learned that I just need to keep listening to Enter the Stage and don't expect you to read it for me. You know what I mean?
Yo, this dude said on Franklin Ave. Like, yo, whenever I think Franklin Ave, I think of ski and I'll be like, yo, FAP, Franklin Avenue Posse. You can't stop me because you're like, it just is. But I like this album. I mean, the Onslaught, the title Warzone, this is what it sounds like. Come Get Some with OGC, Way to the World, Showdown with Q-Tip. I love this song. It had one of my favorite Buck quotables, because if you burn a bridge, then how you gonna cross town? They had this joint called Annihilation with MOP and Teflon. That was bananas. But most people, I mean, I get it. That's a long time. And a lot of people had checked out. The first single was whack, 2 turntables and a mic. They just rhyming over Heartbeat. I get it. They was trying to go for the Park Jam feel, but nigga, nah. Not in 1999. Hip-hop was so way past that, just rhyming over the Heartbeat break. So that wasn't going to go nowhere. This joint, I think me and Vague, a couple of these joints, me and Vague agree on, because I think it's about 3 or 4 of these. I'm going with this Chico DeBarge right here. Long time no see. This shit is a my classic to me.
That was fire.
This shit is crazy.
That was
and
fire.
No human being ever talks about this fucking album. Nobody. From the second I saw the Iggy Me video with with Nia Long, it was a wrap. I was like, yo, that song is dope. I know a lot of people give this hell because it's very brown sugarish. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, you just biting brown sugar. I don't give a fuck. This shit was dope. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, everything on here. It's The Love Still Good, Iggy Me, Virgin, No Guarantee. The remix he came out with Joe was crazy. He did Trouble Man Over by Marvin. To me, this is a 5 mic album that, no, I mean, the album cover is whack. I don't even know if he's in a burning building. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on in this album cover, if he's looking outside the jail. But the album is fire. If y'all never heard this, tap in with Chico DeBarge. Long time no see. Very dope album. Come on, you got another joint for us, bro? You tapped out for the night. God damn, you wasn't joking.
You know what? I remember another album, but now I can't remember. That's how it works.
I got so many. I'll throw another one for commodity. Nobody knows this album but me, Craig G, and Marley Marl. Now that's more like it's Craig G's sophomore album. It came out in 1990. The looks on everyone's face, I could totally understand that I'm the only person who has heard this album. So y'all may remember this joint. The first single was You Are Not the One. And it was Marley still in his Around the Way girl bag. It's like, you are not. They had the same people singing it. He was like, I thought it was dope. To me, it's a personal favorite because I was learning how to drive with this album. It's the follow-up to The Kingpin. For people watching may not know, Craig's first album, The Kingpin, was very hip-hop house heavy. It was very, like, I forgot, one of the songs was like, you know, make this house into a home. Like, that was the first single. And it was, hip-hop had grown past that hip-hop house phase. So it was like, that's the problem. Like, those people who are younger don't understand, y'all, that, like, hip-hop house was like for a minute. And if you came in at the latter end trying to record it, by the time that shit got mixed, mastered, and released, that fad had moved on. So that's what happened with Craig G's first album, The Kingpin. Like, it had moved on. But You Are Not the One was crazy. He's got this joint called What You're Used To, Take the Bait, Something to Swing To, I Want to Be in Love, Give It to Me, Rip the Shreds, Smoothing Out the Rough Spots. Very dope album. Check that out. And then another one for the R&B. Nobody's ever heard of this album. Back for More, DJ Jazzy Jeff, and this shorty named Aya. She was a Canadian singer. And very dope song. And I don't think it's anywhere that you can get it on iTunes. I have it, so if you guys want it, I will send it to you. But it's a very dope album. All produced by Jeff. And God, Vague, what is my man's name who's in the Roots now? The keyboard player. God. I cannot remember his name. Yo, I'm real. It's 50 years old. Shit is really killing my brain, man. I can't remember shit. He produced Erykah Badu's second album. I'll think of the name, but very dope album. Everything is on there. 2 things I love about this album. She has this song called Make It Last over Marvin's Mercy, Mercy Me. And she sings a whole new song, and you kind of not forget about Marvin, but you're not mad at it. That takes skills. That if you could take a Marvin Gaye song and not make me hate it because you now jacked it and turned it to your own song, but very dope song. So check that out. Back for More, Jazzy Jeff and Aya, Back 2011. Dope album. Vay, what you got up next, bro?
All right. Next up on the hip hop side, this is probably an album that people know and maybe they liked it, but it just never gets mentioned, or any of the albums after a certain time. It's the Roots Rising Down album. I was amazed at how dope this album was, because it felt like a lot of hip hop. It had a lot of features on there, like a lot of MCs were on there. But it had that more mature sound, like Things Fall Apart. Some of the standout tracks on there, Rising Down featuring Mos Def and Styles P. Get Busy with Dice Raw and Petey Crack. Yo, Petey Crack first on that joint. Oh my God. And that beat, like, that's one of them songs you run back. Criminal with Saigon. I thought Saigon had an ill verse on there. Black Thought had an ill verse on there. And Rising Up with Chrisette Michelle and Wale, and this was like a go-go joint that the Roots did. And you know, I'm from Brooklyn, so I ain't like I'm here to be like, yeah, let me tell you how the go-go history. I don't give a shit. But I went to Morgan, so I like joints, you know what I'm saying? Because I was there. And when I heard this, I was like, yo, I don't know why Wale just doesn't give us one of these albums, because the shit sound ill what they did with it. But yeah, that album just doesn't get mentioned like most of the albums post Things Fall Apart, and that might just be a product of time and people just forget and only remember the best of the best. But Rising Down was a very dope album from the Roots.
Nah, I love that joint because Malik was back in the fold on that album.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, that's a huge, like, again, I'm always telling people, like, yo, you listen to Philadelphia and Things Fall Apart, Malik and Black Thought was like Tip and Fife. You know what I mean? And when Malik left the group, you know, to me, it just wasn't never the same for me. So hearing he was coming back on this album definitely meant a whole lot to me for that. But yeah, definitely God Bless the Dead with Malik B. But yeah, that was definitely a dope joint. Shot, you got an R&B joint back?
Yeah, I got an R&B joint too.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, my bad. Vic still got one.
Vic.
On the R&B side, I think I mentioned this album on here before. Alicia Keys Here. It's an album that features a lot of, not the entire album like Marsha Ambrosia and Dr. Dre, but a lot of songs that are like odes to hip hop. You know, some samples, some notes you remember from certain songs.
What was the lead single off this one? You remember?
Damn, I don't know. It might be one of these records, because these are four of the records I thought were dope. One joint called The Gospel. She Don't Really Care. That might be one of them. More Than We Know and Where Do We Begin Now. And it's dope because, you know, I don't know if I'm a Alicia Keys fan now, because now I'm just exhausted with her and her husband. So every time I see him, I'm like, nah, man, get out of here, please. But, you know, I was a big Alicia Keys fan, and for a minute I felt like, oh, nobody else here, just me waiting on her albums.
Bro, me and you both. I love Alicia. Yo, I don't know why people just act like Alicia Keys wasn't shit. Like, every car in fucking the world wasn't playing You Don't Know My Name. That fucking song was everywhere. Like, when the joint, what was the joint with over the Sweet Sable, over the one she did live? Unbreakable was everywhere. You couldn't get away from. I don't know why. Her slow jams, all them shits. The one with Common in the video, the one with Meth in the video. Like, Alicia Keys has anthems and bullshit. It's almost like she got with Swiss, and it was like, yo, we won't fuck with her no more. One of my homegirls was saying that's the problem. It was like, all the females like, oh shit, you fucking a married man and you took him from the wife? Like, cut. Like, she's done. And she ain't never been the same since. And I was like, maybe that is what happened, because Alicia Keys really went from being the shit to like nobody fucks with her.
Yeah, you know what? That's funny you would say that, because I believe that, because there were a lot of females around me who were Alicia Keys fan, and when I was like, damn, I'm the only one listening, I started thinking after a while, I was like, oh, am I a scumbag because he went and fucked with a married man? And I'm like, yeah, I like her music, like, you know what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
I don't know. But I like this album a lot, so I think it's slept on.
It's funny. I got a best Alicia Keys mixtape. Niggas be like, she got a best of? I'm like, yo, why are we fucking sitting here and acting like y'all wasn't listening to Diary? Y'all love that fucking song with the little saying the phone numbers like Tony. Like, we not gonna sit here and act like y'all was not banging that what goes around comes around, what goes up won't. Like, y'all was playing that shit. It was everywhere.
It happened overnight, and I don't know what it was. Right? It's like everyone loved her, and then it was like, oh yeah, we ain't mess with her. Oh, now she can't sing. Now she can't this. She can't that.
It's a conversation. The conversation with what happened with Miss Keys is not for this podcast. It's a whole nother social. It's a whole nother social conundrum of a lot of ladies not being able to feel like they identify with how she handled her relationship with Swiss, and it's to not go too far into it. It's a lot of ladies being upset because they could see in their own crew an Alicia Keys and Swiss situation, and they don't know how to deal with that. They don't know how to process it. My homegirl is just as much of a scumbag as I'm calling Alicia, but that's a conversation for a different podcast that don't deal with music and hip hop. But they don't want to hear that. That's not what they want to talk about. If you want to get active on social media, throw this on there tomorrow morning. Throw this on there. Say, hey, why y'all don't like Alicia no more? Every now and again, I'll come in and I'll just bother them like, yo, y'all forgave Chrisette Michelle yet? Kind of thing, and I'll just bother them about that. But y'all don't want to do what I do. I got a whole different life I'm living over here.
I see you came right up to something else today. Clearly.
I mean, we already know Ski done approached this nigga and said, you look more manly. You done pulled up on Buckshot on his block like, nigga, come with that real shit. You did a hurricane. You Hurricane G that nigga. Like, stop coming with that. Come with that real shit. So, yeah, but I'm with you. Like, babe, like, it was like overnight. Like, I'm like, are we really acting like we was not playing Fallen every day on the radio? To me, that's why Jimmy Cozier couldn't really blow up, because he signed both of them at the same time at J Records at the same exact time, and Alicia took off, and basically Clive Davis did a puff, and it was like, yeah, fuck Craig Mack, I'm with Biggie, and it was like, fuck Jimmy Cozier, I'm with Alicia Keys. I got you, Ski. What you got?
If we remember, it wasn't even Jimmy that was on the show. Alicia and what's homegirl name? The dark skin.
Olivia? Oh, dark skin.
Dark skin. Brown's India.Arie. Alicia and India.Arie albums dropped this very same day.
Oh, wow.
The same day, and Alicia took off, and India.Arie album just sat there. And as India had to wait until Alicia calmed down, right, and then they was like, all right, let's put the dark skin girl songs out. And then India.Arie album was actually fire. And then that took off. But India.Arie sat and chilled until Alicia's flame had to kind of dim a little bit before she could take off. But they dropped the same day, and we didn't hear a word from Alicia from India for months. Kind of thing.
So I thought you were gonna go there with the issue in terms of how quickly folks turned on Alicia, or you want to go with the whole color aspect of it? Because I think that's probably something as well.
Because the crazy thing is, I feel like Alicia's first 3 albums was legit. People was playing all that shit. Women can act like they wasn't playing A Woman's Worth. They was playing that shit. That was an anthem. Like, Alicia was making anthems. You know what I mean? You Don't Know My Name was everywhere. It was everywhere. The joint. Yeah, so I feel you, Vague. It's not just you. I'm there with you, man. But Shy, what you got next, man?
All right, I got a couple of joints. I got so this is, I don't know if people don't rock with it as much as I do. I'll put it on my list. I think it's fire. The Friday on Elm Street, that's an album that I listened to all the way through. So that's Jada and Fab. I listened to that album all the way through. I don't think that album got the props that it should have. I mean, those two dudes were killing it. And that kind of teed up the verses between them. For me, I felt like on that album, I got the best of Jada on a couple of those songs. So going into the verses, I was like, yo, Fab got a chance. But I didn't factor in the it factor. Jada was, like his whole personality kind of took over that whole joint, plus the DJ. But I think Friday on Elm Street is fire. That's something that's it's constantly on in my car. I mean, I listen to that album all the way through. So.
Bro, I'm with you, Shy. I fuck with that shit. I fuck with it a hard body. And it's funny because I went in thinking the same thing. I was like, Jada's gonna assassinate this nigga Fab. And Fab held the fuck, he held his own. The first joint when he said something about Hoodie Mellow could have been Thugger, could have been Hoodie Mellow. Like it was crazy. I was like, God. And the joint with the Marvin Gaye sample, like, like it's almost like Fab heard the streets, like, yo, niggas gonna smoke you. And it's like, oh, word? Oh, okay, niggas think Kiss gonna smoke. I mean, I love that album, but I'm with you 100%. Niggas act like it never even existed.
It's crazy. And then on the R&B tip, I got both of Dave Hollister's Book of David and Witness Protection. Folks were so ready for the old Dave Hollister. They were disappointed when he shifted over to gospel. I love those albums. He still gave me the sound. Obviously, he was going through different things in life, his divorce and such. But I feel like I'm probably one of the few people that actually listened to those albums and enjoyed them to the capacity that maybe he wanted, based on his previous fan base with the whole, all of his other stuff, from the Blackstreet stuff to his solo stuff prior to that. So yeah.
That's crazy because I didn't even know he had gospel albums out. When you said Dave's first 2 albums, I'm like, yeah, I love it. And then you was like, I was like, oh, my bad. Let me pick that back up. I didn't even know he had gospel albums out.
Yeah, the Book of David and Witness Protection, both joints.
Okay,
no,
I got
it's just gospel flow. Yeah,
that's dope. I had no idea. No idea. Steve,
well, I won. I stumped Kill today. I won. I didn't expect to be able to.
Nah. Yo, bro, here's the great thing. And that's why I love chopping up with this show. I learned. Like, that's the biggest. That's why I try to keep smart people around me. I want to keep learning. Like, I'm always taking notes. Like, word, I ain't hear that. Like, let me tap in. So, not at all. Ski, what you got up next, bro?
I got it's an album. I know a lot of people don't know the album, but I did listen to the album. But there's a single that this gentleman has that people, when you on Bad Boy, nobody's sure what's your song and what's Diddy's song and what's anybody else's song. But my man G-Dep, first album, Child of the Ghetto, that's the song that Special Delivery comes from. Yeah. People walking around like, yeah, Special Delivery, that's Puff's song. Nope, that's G-Dep's song. And then the remix is so fire with Keith Sweat, made his old personality rest in peace, and with Ghostface on there and Craig Mack was on there and all of that. That's a fire remix, but that ain't even what holds the album down for me. When I would listen to the album, I would replay this song 16 times in a row. I have a thing with real sad songs. I'm not a sad person though, because even on Ready to Die, I love Suicidal Thoughts. I am not suicidal, but I love the hell out that song. But G-Dep's song Every Day, go listen to Every Day, and you will understand the man that ended up turning himself in for a murder that nobody even know he did, kind of thing. You'll kind of the lyrics and the pain in that song, you'd be like, okay, I can see how it went down. Like, walk around the block with my stomach in knots. Like, come on, man, that dude, he was spitting on there, and that alone, I would listen to the whole album. Almost like, let me go ahead and listen to the man's album, but I would really just come back to Every Day and listen to that another 10 times after I listened to the album. So G-Dep, Child of the Ghetto, shout out to him coming home, still making it out. I think he did 16 years when he turned himself in or whatever for a crime that nobody ever even knew he committed. But he could not, I don't know if cats know, he just could not survive with himself with committing the crime. Everybody who takes a life is not a murderer. You know what I mean? There's some people that are actual, due to whatever it is, your experiences, due to hormonal imbalance, I'm here to kill people. There's a lot of people who have killed people that are not murderers, and then you got to now deal with the fact that you took a life. And he took a life that he didn't plan to take, and then just tried to live past it. But because he couldn't live past it, that's why he couldn't do well on Bad Boy, because he on heroin and on drugs, trying to suppress the thoughts from the crime. But at some point, he just showed up and went to the station like, look, I did this back in 89 and 90.
Right. And
they was like, you did that? Yeah, I did that. So go ahead, put me away. Let me pay for it so I could just atone for myself.
All right. So you got to say
Yeah, so I remembered the album I was trying to remember. So I don't remember anybody else talking about this, at least not outside of that region. And then even when they talked about that camp, they still only talked about Outkast. But the album that moved me and really drew me to that camp was Goody Mob Soul Food. That album that nobody, and I don't hear nobody really talk about that. Like they'll talk about Cell Therapy, the first joint, but no, but that's one that, yeah, I remember always talking about like that, and like the cats from that region and the cats from that camp, but then once like Outkast kind of took off, nobody really remembered. You know what I'm saying? Like all them other cats was kind of, at least, you know, outside of their area from a well-known factor. You know what I'm saying? All them cats was making amazing music, but no one was really talking about, you know what I'm saying? Nobody really talks about that album. They might talk about, you know, and then once CeeLo left, like they talk a lot about CeeLo, and they talk, you know what I'm saying, and whatnot, but nobody really talks about that, you know, that album and everything. That was the other one I was trying to think. And especially at that time, wasn't nobody checking, you know what I'm saying, checking for cats from down there. But I remember from going to like the Jack the Rapper conventions and just going back and just going down to ATL in those times, I remember hearing those sounds and knowing like, nah, these cats is making some real tunes down here.
Right. I got you, Steve. What you got?
That's the peeking in my window. Record, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But even the funny part is, as much as they weren't getting shine, Outkast always looked at them like we not nothing without that whole crew. I think, like, you're right. Yeah. What was the Dungeon Family? The whole clip.
Yeah, Dungeon Family was the whole joint. Yeah, that's that same album with I Kinda Like Being Pope. At least I know that's what my friends is here for. What my friends are really here for. Yeah.
And it's funny you said that, John, because one of mine was their follow-up album, Still Standing. They sophomore album. The first single was They Don't Dance No More. They had a joint called Black Guy.
All they do is this.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
That time when that dropped, I was living in Atlanta. So that may be the reason why I love it so much, because when it's hard to be in Atlanta, because you gotta remember Outkast is really what put ATL on the map on some hip hop shit. You know, LaFace and all them was doing that shit. But to be in Atlanta, like when ATLians and that shit dropped, like you couldn't deny it. So I love that. Now here's an album that I think is only me in Vegas. Me, Vegas, and maybe Dr. Dre, the Compton album. I fucking love this album. To me, this is a 5-mic album. I'm the only human being in the world who feels this way, just me and Andre Young. But Veg, I don't know if you give it 5 mics. I love this fucking album. Now, I mean, it's engineered. The beats are crazy. People was like, nah, we ain't like it. He ain't introduced us to nobody. Hey, I ain't know who Anderson .Paak was before this album. So no, he didn't give us the new Snoop or the new Eminem. But Anderson .Paak is big as shit. Like, we ain't gonna sit here and act like Anderson .Paak is just some random nigga. This nigga's like in 5 different groups. This shit right here is crazy. If niggas haven't heard this, the new NX Worries album with him and Knowledge, this shit is crazy. I mean, the shit with Bruno Mars is crazy. Like, so I felt like he gave us the next star. And I love the album, man. I mean, I know it probably wasn't Detox. It wasn't what everybody was waiting for or whatever like that. But I absolutely love this album. R&B wise, nobody remembers this dude, Glenn Lewis, World Outside My Window. He was down with the Touch of Jazz crew out of Philly with Dre and Vidal. Very dope album, Simple Things, Beautiful Eyes. The single was Don't You Forget It. It had the Stevie Wonder type vibe to it. He had a slow jam called It's Not Fair. That was crazy. Nobody talks about that joint. Ski, what you got?
That boy Glenn Lewis had a song with my guy, Cardinal Official, out of T-Dot, out of Toronto.
Yeah.
Easy, Mr. Man, Mr. Easy. That boy killed it.
Yeah, Glenn,
I couldn't give Cardinal Official a whole album, but Cardinal Official was my guy, man.
Yeah, because Glenn is from up there. And another Glenn album that nobody knows about, Chasing Goosebumps. This album was crazy because Jazzy Jeff, the premise behind this album was we are going to take 7 days to make an album, record it, mix it, engineer it, and put it out. It started Super Bowl Sunday. As soon as the Super Bowl was over, they started recording. The following Sunday, the album was done. It was like a Dre and Vidal Whole Touch of Jazz reunion. They live streamed it on YouTube. I think some of the sessions are still up on YouTube. But Chasing Goosebumps was a very dope album that I don't hear nobody talking about. This one is probably gonna get me kicked off my own podcast. Certified Lover Boy by Drake. I think I'm the only person that likes that album.
Bye-bye.
I know. I'm okay with being the only person. I know. I'm 100% okay with it, y'all. I sometimes relish in being in the only person. I don't know. I fucking love the album. Fucking love it. Now, again, this is pre-Kendrick and all that. This is pre him poking out the lips, and Vegas just did the whole little piece about him poking out the lips with his crew. I'm not co-signing none of that. I'm just here for the music. I love that joke. That's all I'm here for. So, and I know I'm the only one with that. Kamani, I know if you think of something else, just pop back in. Vague, what you got up next, bro?
Next on the hip hop side, I got Outkast's Idlewild. I feel like no one. First of all, I saw the music. I mean, I heard the music because I had watched the film, and the film was like whatever. But the whole time I was like, God damn, I really like these songs, and excuse me, not a lot of people were talking about it because I knew the movie got a lot of flack or whatever. Standout songs for me: Peaches featuring Sleepy Brown, Into You featuring Cujo from Goody Mob, The Train, and Hollywood Divorce.
Lil Wayne and Snoop.
Yeah, crazy. But I don't know what it is. I think people just stop at Love Below and Speaker Box and say, oh, well, that was the last Outkast album. But I'm like, yo, this album has so many different looks, some rapidy rap. Excuse me. There's some singing. There's all kinds of stuff on here, and it's like par for the course for Outkast. Outkast, your expectations can't be what they did on the last album because they never do that. So I think I love it. I listen to it, but it just doesn't. It gets ignored, honestly, in hip hop. Yeah.
Morris Brown was my shit too. But I think the other thing too is the movie was just blah. Like that was an HBO movie at best, and they actually released it in theaters. And I think it was just kind of like the movie's whack. I'm not checking for the soundtrack. You know what I mean? Niggas didn't really hop on the Morris Brown train like that. So it was kind of like, all right, and I think people kind of just gave up on that joint. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. You got an R&B joint?
Yeah, it's Erykah Badu's New America Part 2. Now, I think the reason why Part 2 is slept on is because people didn't like Part 1. Which was like the worldwide joint, the white cover with
right.
New America Part 2 was where she was like a robot cart or drawing on the cover, and it was purple or whatever. But songs on there, Window Seat, we all remember that one. If you saw the video, you remember that one. I remember that song. I like the song, but I like it better now. Turn Me Away, which was dope. What is this? And Fall in Love, Your Funeral, which was dope, and it felt like a part 2 to Tyrone.
Right.
Biggie's.
That was the one with if my burglar alarm starts ringing.
Right.
Yeah, that shit was dope.
Some flowers and slow singing, and it's an extremely dope album, but people go right to her debut and Mama's Gun every time they talk about Erykah Badu, and this joint was hot to me, but people didn't like it or whatever. So
I feel you. Shop, what you got up, Shop?
So I have this is another album that I know a few songs from, but this is an album that I just can listen to because of the vibe of the album. Anthony David, As Above, So Below, with Forevermore in it. Like, it's just a vibe. So I'll put that album on and I could just rock out to it. But I don't know that people people would know Anthony David and would be checking for him, but I don't hear his name, ringing bells other places or whatever. But that's an album that's just like a dope vibe.
No. That's a dope pull. And you're right. I don't know why people don't bring up his name more, because the joint was dope. You know what I mean? So again, I'm always trying to figure out why and how, you know what I mean? And it's funny, Kamani, when you was talking about Goody Mob, we did an episode about standing in the shadows of. And it's like sometimes you can't blow up because who's in front of you, you know, kind of similar to with OC. Like OC, if Illmatic came out in 95, we may be talking about OC a whole lot more. But he was in the shadow with Nas. And I think that's the thing with Goody Mob, with Outkast being so big. And so, to me, you had to be a certain kind of fan to like Goody Mob. Yeah. Everybody liked Outkast. So it's kind of like, it's like the Big Brother thing. It's like people can't see past what they're doing. And sometimes I think that's what happens with a lot of stuff, that stuff just gets in the way. You know what I'm saying? And then, Vague, to your point about Erykah Badu, I think sometimes niggas like the same shit. You know, we did a show with 5B where niggas always like, yo, rappers, y'all need to grow up. But then when niggas try new shit, niggas don't like it. So it's kind of like Badu is not going to give you the same shit every time. So you can't look at it like that. You know what I mean? Like, I want Pusha T talking about drugs forever. I never want Pusha to talk about his marriage and how to raise children and living in Bethesda. No, sell crack for eternity, my nigga. Like, keep it going. Like, I don't want you to change. That's okay. Like, everybody, because like, yo, you need to grow up. Then the second you do something different, it's like, I don't like it. You know, but nigga, you the same nigga who told me to try something new. So, nah, Shy, that's a dope pull, man. Ski, what you got up next, bro?
What's good, gentlemen? I'm leaning on Sha. I'm gonna stay with Sha. Sha got all the R&B for us. He probably got 15 more that he could tell y'all about. I lived with that man, so he got that covered. I'm gonna give y'all one hip hop joint that I kept on repeat. I understand why he not. The ladies like him because of his look. The fellas don't like him because I think he one of them dudes who doesn't change his voice when he raps, so it kind of sounds like a whole monotone album. But I am a Dave East fan, and I listened to the Kyrie Chanel album. That is the name of his daughter that he had in 2016. It was a 2016 album he dropped called Kyrie Chanel. And I just, for some reason, that album stayed on repeat. And I thought he was like the next and was going to blow. And I think because of what the music industry is, I don't know what blowing is anymore. I don't know, pause. I don't know what that means in regards to like really being big, and you know, what does that mean? Does that mean a dude still going gold and platinum? I don't even know if that's still a thing. You know what I mean?
Nah, I don't think so no more, bro. Like you said, it's almost like I don't even know what that is anymore. I
done saw him in a couple of hood movies, so maybe he trying to get an agent and get an acting coach or something. But
well, you know, he was doing the Wu-Tang thing. He was doing meth. He played meth all them years.
He played meth in the show, right. So that, you know, he doing that, but I really enjoyed that album. I enjoyed, and I kind of learned about him and who he was and the mixtape stuff. But that album, I really enjoyed that album. He kind of focused on had one song definitely dedicated to his daughter, so that was close to me too. But check that out if y'all get a chance. Kyrie Chanel is a 2016 album. He probably got about 5-6 albums. I've only heard 2, but and he the mix. They all in the mix. They all in the mix together. Him and the Dipset dudes and Lox and all of them is like, whatever the industry is, they all cool, but I don't know who or how is making money, kind of thing. Right. So that is what it is, or at least off of music, I should say.
Right. The funny thing is, I always fuck with Dave. A lot of people don't, but I feel like Dave. He had this joint called Paranoia that I love. That's probably my favorite Dave East album. But I feel like with Dave East, like, he got signed to Nas's label, but I feel like what Dave does is similar to what gospel artists do. So way back in the day, CeCe Winans had this album out called Everlasting Love. Loved the album. You know what I mean? Was so hyped for a follow-up album. It was called Alabaster Box. I copped it, hated it. My OG Dwayne Johnson up at EAA, who ran Gospel Grace, was like, Kill, you got to understand, gospel artists, the Everlasting Love was a contemporary album, which is gospel artists do to try to get play on the radio. This album is a praise and worship album. So this is a totally different vibe than what you got on the last album. And to me, that's kind of like what Dave East does. I mean, it's dope that Nas signed him. It's dope that he does some boom bap, but he's still a young nigga. You know what I mean? And these young niggas want to do some of that trap shit sometimes. So I don't mind, Dave. I'd rather you give me a hip hop album and then your next 2 albums be some next shit than to try to make that shit a fucking Golden Corral of shit and 2 hip hop songs and 3 trap songs and 3. I'd rather you just make the whole hip hop album and just be like, nigga, I see y'all in 2 years. Like, I'm gonna go out here and do this trap shit. I appreciate that. Like, I appreciate Fab giving us the soul tapes. Like, yeah, go do the shit for the radio. Just give us what we need. And if you give us what we need, nigga, I don't got no problem with you doing songs with Tamia. Do whatever the fuck you need to do to keep all your Benzes and have a Benz given and all that shit. You know what I mean? But at the same token, just give us what. And I think that's why we love Fab so much, because Fab still gives us what we want. You know what I mean? What you gonna say, Ski?
I was laughing at your Benz Given and him.
That's a dope ass song,
and what's his name? And what's his name? Just appreciating that a boom bap rapper don't come and show up and give us 3 drill songs on the same album. You know
right.
If I want to hear drill, I'm gonna go find the dude. I'm gonna go find a Pop Smoke song and listen to that. You know what I mean?
Right. But again, like I said, I can't get mad at that. He's a young boy. Like, you still got to do the shit that you. I'm a 50-year-old nigga. I can't expect a 32-year-old nigga to give me the music that I want all the time. I appreciate you just doing this sometimes, because half these young niggas don't do it at all. You know what I mean? So I feel that way. Next up, yo, Vay, I don't know what you felt about this album. What was Machine Gun do? I thought this album was dope as shit. It's the first Griselda compilation album. I felt like the beats was dope. I felt like Benny Conway and Westside did what I expected from them, but nobody talks about this album. It just came and it just went, which was crazy to me. I got another one. I don't know where the vinyl is, but J Electronica's a written testimony.
Yeah.
I like the album. Nobody, niggas be like, that shit's a coaster. I put that shit, that CD's a fucking coaster in my house on my fucking tape. So, I get it. What you got, Ski?
That Griselda album, I played that on repeat regularly, and at my corporate job, whenever there's a meeting, if I got to put a tie on, if I got to talk to multiple people on Zoom or Teams, that is the most, in that morning, that's the most ratchet music I'm listening to. So before I get to that meeting, I will have sold 4 bricks and taken 8 live before I get to that meeting to explain to them how my work works and how we gonna work this project and all of that. And the Written Testimony album, is that the one that Jay is on every song?
Yep.
And so that's a Jay compilation album. That's him and Jay album. Secretly that nobody mentions.
Right. I totally agree with you. But the wild part is, most people, it's one of those albums you either love it or you hate it. There's no in between with that album. You know what I mean? I love it. It's so funny. Me and Ev got like a 3-hour argument about it, and we both love the fucking album. He just loves it more than I do. It's like, nigga, why are we arguing for 3 fucking hours? We both like the album. And I mean, at the end of the day, I think Jay kills it. If you ask me, Jay had to be on there because I don't think Jay Electronica wants to rap. So I think it was like, nigga, well, I'll do it with you, my nigga. Like, come on, let's do it together. You know? And to me, it gave us some of Jay's dopest verses in a minute. Because I think Jay understood, I'm rhyming next to the nigga. I know I have friends who consider Jay Electronica the GOAT. And I'm like, this nigga don't even have an album out, my nigga. Like, what is your GOAT? What are the attributes of a GOAT for you? This nigga don't even got an album out. Like, he has one song that we all love that came out in fucking 2009. Y'all, people forget Exhibit C was 2009. It is 2024. Like, I can't give nobody the GOAT title off of one fucking song. Yes. So I just think Jay knew he had to step up his bars to stand in next to Jay Electronica. So I definitely think that was it. What you got, Ski?
When you mention Jay Electronica, it takes you to the other names like Supernatural and the other names like Mad Skills before he became a little more commercial. But those were the names that was reserved in that room. You know what I mean? Like, these are spitters. These are, I don't know if they ever gonna drop an album or sign a commercial deal, but they gonna always be at the Jack the Rapper convention in that room where the spitters go spit, where the dudes that sold $1 million, they don't want to go in that room. They have no interest in that room. They nervous as hell in that room, and that's the room they was in. So the fact that he even ever dropped is a benefit to hip hop itself.
Yeah, Jay-Elect to me is just one of, I mean, you listen to the album, he says things like, you know, Jay's like, yo, why don't you do something for your family? Or like, he just seems like he doesn't really believe he's dope. Like, he just seems like a Ben Simmons type nigga. Like, it's something fucked up in his head that is just like, you could be great. You like, Ben Simmons really could have been maybe followed in the footsteps of LeBron. He wasn't going to be the next one, but he had the attributes to follow in his footsteps. But he's fucked up in the head and he can't do what he has to do. And I feel like that's something with Jay-Elect, because Jay-Elect has all the talent in the world to make a 5 mic album easily. You know what I mean? And he just doesn't. Like,
failure to launch, right? Like,
yeah,
like a bunch of pump fakes. Yeah, like, yeah.
And I really think that Jay probably had to say, like, okay, dog, like, on some old, I'll hold your hand and walk you across the street type shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because you're too scared to cross the street. I get it, my nigga. Let me hold your hand. I'll walk this walk with you. Because there's no way Jay should have been on every song on that album. Like, Jay-Z don't even do that shit. Like, I mean, yeah, I know he did it with Kanye, but that's not even something that Jay does. Like, I want to partake on your album, but we're still going to post it as a Jay Electronica album. This ain't a Kanye and Jay album. It's still all yours. I'm just going to be on every song. So it just didn't add up right. I got El Capo by Jim Jones. No one's heard this album but me. But to me, Jim Jones can do no wrong. Oh, you fuck with it, babe? Okay, Ski is with me? Okay. Let me explain something to you. I don't think Dipset, if you get Dipset with Arsonist, I'm all in. I'm all in on that. And I'm not even a Jim Jones fan like that. But on this album, I don't know who was writing his rhymes or he just stepped his game up to the next level. I fucking love that album. What you got on this, Ski?
Let me tell you something. I can't believe that's not on my list. Because I told, when I wasn't even posting on Facebook, I got on Facebook and called this the hip hop album of 2019. El Capo, Jim Jones. There's not a better album. I don't. Who did the production? You just named that person?
Arsonist, the Heat Maker.
The Arsonist is sick on there. And what's annoying, Jim Jones has not been as good since. Yep. So that's also annoying. I like him in Pop Champagne. I like his little verse. And me and Kamani love Bird Gang Money. I go crazy when Bird Gang Money come on. But outside of that, Jim is just regular to me. Jim is just whoever he is. But on that album, on that El Capo album, he pulled it together. He pulled it together. That album is fire.
Yeah. I got this Joe Budden album. Nobody talks about this. Joe Budden, Rage in the Machine. Him and A-Rab Music did this. Now, the thing with A-Rab Music, as me being a producer, A-Rab Music, for people watching, he was one of them finger drumming niggas. Like, niggas who can play the beat live on the MPC and do all that shit. That shit to me is like and1 basketball. I'm like, that shit looks real cute for YouTube and all that shit. Can you come to the league and actually do some shit? This nigga produced the fuck out of this album. That's what I needed to see. I needed him to come into the studio. Can you make good songs? Can you produce good songs? I've never heard anybody talk about this album. I'm not talking about Joe Budden's a podcaster. I hate that nigga. I'm not talking about Joe Budden's the fucking celebrity YouTube stuff. I'm talking about the MC. The MC Joe Budden is a fucking problem when Joe is in his bag. And then on the R&B side of things, I gotta smile for this because I'm the only nigga in the world who likes this album. Justin Timberlake's Man of the Woods. Okay, now number one, what'd you say?
The Man of the Woods? What album is that?
I can't even say it with a straight face. I fucking like the album. It's the album that came after the second 2020 vision, the 2020 joint.
Oh.
And it does have some Woodsy shit on it, you know. But at the end of the day, Timbaland and Pharrell produced like 80% of it. So I just think, again, I think something happened with Justin, and this is past the Janet Jackson titty thing. Something happened, and it's like we like Justin, and then all of a sudden, just black people don't like him no more. Like, I think there's just something with us and white people. We can just turn them on and off at a second. Because it was just like, nope, Justin is done after the second 2020 album, and niggas have never looked back. What you got, babe?
I think that nigga might be on them freak off tapes. Because he was already driving around drunk and crazy. It's like, what's wrong with Justin Timberlake? He canceling shows and shit. It's like,
yo, anything that's going crazy in any celebrity life right now is because of Diddy. Like everybody, niggas is like, yo, you know Jennifer, that's why Jenna and Ben broke up because he found out about the freak on tapes. Like everything, they like, you know, Ashton Kutcher and Mia breaking up because niggas done found out about Ashton over them Puff parties. Like at the end of the day, niggas been partying with Puff for 30 years. Everybody fuck is going down. Like everybody's going down to some extent. Like this nigga you cannot have been partying with somebody for 3 fucking decades. You know what I mean? Some shit. So I'm not even mad about that. And then my other R&B joint was John Legend's second album, Once Again, from 2006. Sounds like he's a Vegas fucking flamingo singer on this album. I'm the only person who liked the album. It's the total opposite of Get Lifted. The whole Kanye vibe of Get Lifted with the hip hop is not on this second album. But I still fuck with it. Vay, you got anything left?
Yeah, I got one hip hop and one R&B. On the hip hop side, I got GZA's Pro Tools. I actually had to be talked into listening to it. This is a later album from him, maybe 07. I can't remember when. But somebody told me I should listen to it because it was dope. And I think it brings back that early Wu sound for a GZA album as far as the beats and even the features. Some of the standout songs, Alphabets, 7 Pounds, Short Race, which has Rock Marcy on there, and a song called Pencil with Master Killer and RZA. And what's dope about it is just reminds you of them early GZA joints, you know, where he had them Wu sounding type beats, and you know what I'm saying, and he was in his bag.
RZA didn't do this, but it just has the Wu sound to it.
I don't know if he did the whole thing. He might have done a song or two, but it might be mathematics because he's really good at bringing that old Wu sound to life. But it's dope. Like you listen to it, it like basically will meet your expectations if you haven't listened to GZA in years, and you're like, all right, well, let me check it out. Lyrically, musically, even the play on the Pro Tools, right? Like, yeah, it's not about the software program, it's the Pro Tools. What he talking about is rhyming skills. So I thought that was dope, but I feel like I'm the only one that even talks about it. And my last one for R&B, Carl Thomas' second album, Let's Talk About It. Everybody talks about the solo album and that's it. And he had 2 excellent albums after that album. And it almost never gets mentioned. Diddy's all over it. It's just in case, you know, somebody press play, I get offended. He's all over, okay? It's Bad Boy. It's still on Bad Boy, you know what I'm saying? But standout tracks on there, Anything, My First Love, Make It All Right, and The Baby Maker. And I think, what's his name? Candyman? I think he might on there. I think he might have done one of those songs because
we don't say R. Kelly's name on here. Yeah, so it's Candyman. If you say his name 3 times, your daughter comes up missing. So we just call him Candy.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Because I see Kamani like Candyman, the rapper. He was on that show like that.
Give me one of my albums because I know that we don't speak about those people.
I gotta hear that joint, man. I gotta tap into Pro Tools. I never heard it. Like that's the problem that I have. Like once you drop the ball, I seldomly ever pick it back up. So it's like once he fumbled with that second album, it was like I haven't heard a GZA album since. You know, and if Nas said this years ago, and it's how I started listening to music. He was like, "Yo, if something is dope enough, it'll find its way to me." You know what I mean? So I feel like, especially with being on Twitter, it's like if something is dope enough, somebody will tell me about it. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely need to tap into that Pro Tools joint. Sherrod, what you got left, bro?
I got a couple joints. I got for R&B, I got Donell Jones, Life Goes On.
Which one is that?
That's his third album. And so it was very different from because his first album. Let me look it up. And his first album, not a lot of people checking for the first album. But the Life Goes On, it was I'm bugging because I hadn't had a couple of drinks. Life Goes On. That was the main song was Life Goes On, right? You know, so y'all don't want me to sing here. But Kamani loves my singing, but y'all don't want me to sing. Yeah, so I mean, for me, it kind of resonated with a few things I was going through at that time in my life, right? You saying going through breakups and this and that, and so there was a lot of energy for that entire album that just kind of resonated with me. But it was different from like the Knock Me Off My Feet, like the earlier stuff or whatever. But it was, to me, it was more soulful and it connected with me. But the fact that you don't know what's on it tells me that not everybody checking for that third Dino Jones album. Life Goes On. So,
all right, no doubt. Ski, you tapped out.
I got two more for you on the hip hop side. I got the Slaughterhouse EP. I like everything Slaughterhouse. I wish they were still together. And they had an EP, and on that EP, I used to listen to the whole thing, but I don't know if a lot of people know they got a song with the Lox. It's Slaughterhouse on the Lox called "Put Some Money on It." It's an amazing song. It's fire. All of them rapping it. All of them is killing it. And on the R&B side, which I didn't know we was considering this R&B, but if you're allowed to mention Justin Timberlake, then I am allowed to introduce y'all to this young fella that every time I introduce him, people call me like, why did you do this to me? Because now I'm listening to this dude every day. And this is Justin Bieber album called Purpose. In like 2015, 2016. The album is sick. I don't know who produced it, but the album is fire. And once you listen to it, you'll be annoyed like Ski got me. Ski got me because now I'm in the car listening to Bieber. And the kids, I think, is good enough. I think it's clean enough for the kids to listen to. It got some hilarious lyrics on it. He got a song with a chorus that says, "My mother don't like you, but she likes everyone. My mother don't like you, and she likes everybody." Like,
I heard
no, like, it's hilarious. But I remember listening to it.
I'm not even gonna be mad at that because, and I know I don't know where we are with this Diddy thing. I still love that album that he just dropped. That motherfucking Off the Grid. That shit is crazy to me. I still listen to it. Sorry, everybody watching. But one of my favorite songs on there is a Justin Bieber song called Moments. You know what I mean? And I was listening to it flying out to LA, and I wasn't even looking at who was what. And I was like, yo, this song stayed on repeat. And then when I was like, oh shit, that's Justin Bieber? How can I like a Justin Bieber song? But so I mean, I'm writing these joints down. So Purpose by Justin Bieber. All right. The last wrap up my list. I've got this album right here, The Life of Pablo. Me and Kanye are the only people who like this album. Vegas agrees with me on this. It's just me and him. I actually brought the vinyl. That's how much I actually like this album, along with 808 and Heartbreaks. So I don't know anybody who appreciates 808 and Heartbreaks either, but I fucked with those albums. I'm the only person, me and Naomi are the only two people who like Mr. Morales and the Big Steppers, Kendrick's last album. We are the only people. Yeah, it's true. It's just me and Naomi. That's it. We went to that concert, had a great time. Maxwell's second album in the Black Summer Night series. And we never got the third one because the first one was Pretty Wings and Bad Habits. The second one, All the Way Loves Can Feel, The Fall, Lake by the Ocean was the single. Nobody likes that shit. This joint right here, nobody talks about this album, and this was my shit. People have never talked about Michelle A's debut album. She had Nicety, No More Lies, If. Of course, we had Something in My Heart. She did the Enchantments Silly Love Song over again. This is an amazing album that no one talks about. I also got, for all my Brooklyn people, Special Ed's second album, Legal, in 1990. Nobody talks about Legal. It's always about I Got It Made, and that's the fuck it. This shit had Come On, Let's Move It, The Mission, You're Not So Hot, The Magnificent Remix, Ready to Attack, which was the first time I heard the sample that Pete used for fucking Run DMC's Down with the King. Everybody knows I'm the only human being who liked this. Nasir album, the one he did with Kanye West. I'm the only person who likes this album. Not for Radio, Cop Shot the Kids, White Label, Bonjour, Adam and Eve. I love that. And Dia Davenport, 1988. She was the lead singer for the Brand New Heavies. She had a solo album out. The single was Whatever You Want, Save Your Love for Me. Primo did a remix to the song. Her first single was Bring It On. He did a remix, which was crazy. Players, Cheers to You. Nobody talks about that fucking album. Young Timberland, this is 1988, all produced by Timberland. Solange's second album, Soul Angel and the Hadley Street Dreams. I'm talking Tony, Dancing in the Dark. I Decided, nobody likes that. 24-Hour Karate School by Ski Beats.
Yeah.
Very dope album. This was from 2010 when Dame Dash was starting the DD 112, the Dame Dash music group. Has a crazy posse song called Prowler, J Electronica, Jean Grey, Mos Def, and Joel Ortiz. Taxi with Mos Def. Just a lot of bangers on there. The last one I got, No Pressure by Eric Sermon. It was his debut album back in 93. It had Payback with Joe Sinister, Stay Real. This was Hostile with Keith Murray, the first time we heard Keith. Safe Sex, Hitting Switches. Had this song I love called Little Crazy with Shades of Lingo. Very dope album. What else? And then I had Any Dilated Peoples album. Nobody likes Dilated Peoples but me. It's literally just me and Evidence. We are the only two human beings in Alchemist who like Dilated Peoples. I love Dilated Peoples. Nobody likes them. The Beat Miners had this album called Brace for Impact that nobody ever fucking heard. It was like their Pete Rock Soul Survivor. It's the Beat Miners. I mean, see the shot is why I need glasses because now I gotta use a fucking magnifying glass to fucking read who's on the back of this.
Damn, I thought I did this shit.
You got Lord Tariq and Royce the 5'9", Black Moon, Last Emperor, Jay Felony, Razzcast, Diamond D, Cocoa Brothers, Flip Mode, Shades of Brooklyn, Talib, and Total, Heather B, Freddie Fox, Apani B, Naughty by Nature, Crumb Snatch. I mean, very dope album that nobody talks about. And Vague, you may remember this. I called hell on Twitter for weeks because I was the only person who liked Chance the Rapper's The Big Day.
I liked it too.
Get the fuck out of here. Then it was just me and yo. People watching, niggas made fun of me for weeks, plural, for liking this album. And I'm fine with that. It's all jokes, man. I mean, they gave me hell for that. Oh, and another album that I like, Brando Stone in the New World, which is Childish Gambino's new album. Vague, I know you don't fuck with that joint. But me and Naomi like the new one that just came out. That literally, it's like a soundtrack to a new movie.
Yeah, I'm like,
I know. Me and Naomi are the only ones. So that's it. Shy, anybody got any other albums left on the table?
I got two things. It's simple though. So we talk about kind of like being in folk shadow. The K Solo Tell the World My Name album.
Ooh, that's the first one?
That might be the second one. I don't remember. But that's the one with Mom's My Business, Renee, all that other good stuff.
That's the first album.
Yeah. That's the first one. I agree with you, man. That fucking Rockin' for My Hometown.
Yeah.
Yo, niggas do not. That's a great pull. I love that album too, man.
But it was in the shadows of all the, the Hit Squad stuff, and EPMD was, super big at the time, so it kind of fell by the wayside. So I thought that was pretty cool.
You know the funny thing about that? One of my young boys was like, "Yo, Kill, man, you like the nigga who fucking like who would spell?" And I'm like, "Nigga, you gotta understand. At that time in hip hop, we had things like that. Like if you did something different, that was dope." And I mean, niggas have always been spelling. I don't know one human being our age who did not sit around and figure out how to say the BIGDADDYKN. We all wanted to spell that. That was the flyest shit ever, to be able to spell your fucking name. Like, I get it, young boy. Just you telling me this nigga superpower is he could spell? Like, nigga, and I'm supposed to listen to him? Like, I get it, but you gotta go back, man. You gotta go out. Whenever I talk to these young boys, I try to send them back 3 years before what I want them to listen to. Because if the last thing you heard was Kendrick and J. Cole and Griselda, and I send you to 85 to listen to Run DMC, that shit's gonna sound whack to you. But if I send you back to 82 to listen to the Treacherous 3 and the Funky 4 plus one more, then you come to Run DMC. Now you're able to see how they changed the game. But if I send you straight back to Run DMC, you're not gonna get it. And I understand why you're not gonna get it. So I always gotta send them back a couple of years before. So yes, the nigga superpower was the spell. But that shit was dope at the fucking time. Like, that was dope. Like, I get it. He's like Aquaman. Like, this nigga can talk to fish. Like, I get it. He's the running joke of fucking the Justice League. Like, he talks to fish. Like, let's stop acting like that's all Aquaman does. That nigga's strong, too. Like, let's stop that. But, like, K-Solo could go. What's up, man?
Yeah, I was into it, too. And similar to my Eric B. and Rakim story about, like, finally being able to get an album. It's like towards the end. I got his second album. I got it over there on cassette.
That was dope too.
Time's Up. But I ain't gonna front Kill. When I was like, he got a song called Letterman. I think it was time for that. I was like, yo, he gotta stop. Like, yo.
But again, that's the hard part with the phases in hip hop. Like niggas when he came out with Spellbound, that shit was dope. So it's like, oh, word, y'all like me spelling? Fuck it, I'll keep spelling. Not understanding. Niggas is like, yeah, nigga, that was cute the first time that you could spell, but then you still spell, what do you say, the BIRD and the SK? Like, you still fucking shit up. So it's not like you even a mathematical speller like that either. Like, you really kind of failing at it. But the second go round, it wasn't there. But that Pete Rock remix, that's all you had to do. Like, the Pete Rock remix of Letterman was crazy. So
it was.
The shit may have been corny, but just have Pete Rock come in and remix that shit, and everything's gonna be good. And Shy, you had another one?
The Uncle Murder album, the last one, the Lenny Grant story. I like that one.
I never heard that. What's the name of the album?
The Lenny Grant story.
Lenny Grant. All right.
It came out last year, I believe. It was dope album. But he's from my same projects in Brooklyn, so I'm hearing the stories. It's kind of like I can kind of feel, the energy of the stories that he's telling or whatever. So for me, it resonated. But others may not have check for it.
All right, no doubt. Where can people get at y'all? Because I know y'all are like, the three of y'all, the Minion crew, y'all like in the wind. Y'all niggas like Kaiser Sourcing. Like, y'all pop up when it's time to have an event. You know what I mean? Like, where can they get at you at, man?
So they can get at me at AAU basketball games with my son, or at Morgan alumni events. I'm very active in my Morgan alumni chapter. I do stuff on campus for the students and stuff like that. I do some mentoring. I just was on campus the week before.
Oh, congrats too! I saw you a week before homecoming. I posted that you was doing something up there.
On a panel, talking to the current students about career opportunities and such. So I always try to pour into the youth, give them just a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of insight on like how life is going, but how life really is. Like, it's actually not that difficult, but sometimes things look like it's like a daunting task. So I try to be relatable to the youth so they can see that anything's possible. So
no doubt. Kamani, where can they get at you, bro?
They can get at me when they see me in the streets once a month. When I come outside. When I come outside once a month, or they can hit me up on IG. I got it up there, Kilkenny718. My page ain't been as fun and as ratchety as it was in the past, but I think I'm about to get back in my ratchety bag and get some, get back in the ratchety bag with the posts and whatnot. But I mean, I'm just, I just come out once in a while, man. I just come out once in a while. That's about it.
There's no doubt. Vague, talk about the album, Bed-Stuy Vintage, me and Vegas' new album, Rhymes by Vegas, beats produced by me. Talk about it, Vague.
Yeah, man. So, if you don't know, if you can't see my neck beard, there's a lot of gray hair under there, I've been rhyming since 1994. Something that was kind of a hobby and kind of remained a hobby, throughout my life. It didn't become my focus. But me and Kill got together in 09 or something like that.
Yeah, 09 was the first album.
Yeah, and just started making music. We got 6 projects. The newest project is called Bed-Stuy Vintage, the album. It's just straight boom bap. Typically, I like to add a lot of concepts and sometimes some humor and things like that. But I decided on this album, to do less of that and to do more just bars. Because that's where I started, rhyming on Morgan's campus in OC. You know what I'm saying? Rapping Brooklyn because there was a lot of Queens niggas around. So I was like, oh, you think it's different because we here? Nope. But you know what I'm saying? It was fun to do that, to kind of dig back into that bag and try to say the best shit I could come up with, and relate to the times and not have a bunch of, nothing wrong with older references, but I like to have references where everybody get them. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, you can find that on vegasworldinc.bandcamp.com, but also it's on Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, YouTube Music, whatever you use to stream music is there. And Kills on the intro, basically just making sure the old heads get to say something. You know what I'm saying? And Kills never talk on any. Here's a secret. Kill don't even know this. Kill, I was gonna ask you to rhyme on one of the records.
Oh, that would have been a mistake. That would have been a mistake.
I could have edited. I could have been editor. Like I ain't gonna do that shit like this.
Nigga, that would have been the biggest mistake of the whole album right there, man.
Right. But yeah, check it out. And if all of that information, is difficult to find it real quick because you can't write it down, just follow me on any social media platform at Vegas World INC. Links are there, no matter where it is, even TikTok. So there you have it.
And also, Vegas would be our last album was called Willmatic, dedicated to the memory of his cousin who was Ill Will, the Queensbridge legend who Nas is always talking about. That's Vegas's first cousin. And so check that out because we wanted to talk. He wanted to kind of give some game on. You always hear Nas talk about Ill Will for the past 30 years. So this album is kind of a little background into their relationship. And all proceeds go to his aunt, Miss Versi. If you remember on Second Childhood, Nas says don't curse in front of Miss Versi. That's Vegas's aunt. So all the proceeds from that album goes to her and her family and Ill Will's family. So definitely check that out. On my front, me and Rel got an album out called It's Not You, It's Me. It's all about relationships. Anybody who's ever been in a relationship can definitely relate to that album. And I'm also producing an album for my homegirl, Backward Sweetie. Should probably be done the end of this month. We just had Tajay from Souls of Mischief. He's on the album. He actually flew out from off tour with Souls of Mischief, Cypress Hill and the Alcoholics to be in the video out here in DC. So salute to him for doing that. So we got that coming out. So there's a lot of good stuff that's cooking up. Brothers, I appreciate y'all. Prayerfully, I don't have to wait another homecoming to see you again. If I would have known this was all Brooklyn show when we get off camera, I have a whole topic that I wanted to do because originally this wasn't going to be an all Brooklyn show, but this is what I love about God. Everybody started calling out. Portia was like, I can't make it. Kel was like, I can't make it. It was all Brooklyn. I always say God has who's supposed to be on this show to be on this show. So prayerfully I can get all you Brooklyn people back because I got a great show that I want to do with y'all to salute the borough. People may not know I spent every summer of my life in Fort Greene, Brooklyn, South Portland, right there on the fucking corner across street from Fort Greene Park. From the time that I was in first grade to ninth grade, every summer was spent in Brooklyn. So I just love the borough. Yo, keep it locked. I will check y'all next week, good peoples.